In this tutorial, we'll be looking at simulating water affecting spheres using typeflow and Phoenix FD in 3ds Max. So I've just downloaded the Phoenix software from Chaos Group into 3ds Max. You can download it off their website, and then you just need to close and reopen 3ds Max, and this toolbar will appear, as well as in the helpers tab, there's the Phoenix FD options as well. Firstly, we want to go down to the taskbar and select the Phoenix FD Create a Liquid Simulator. So click on that button, and then in the window, click and drag to select the size of your liquid simulation, release, and then select the height, and then click again. So that will be the extent that the water will be in. Next, in the toolbar, select Phoenix FD Create a Liquid Source, and click and drag to add an icon. Also, you want to go to the standard primitives in the geometries and add a typeflow icon. In the Modify panel, in typeflow, go to Interfaces and select Enable Particle Interface. Then right-click on your typeflow icon, go to Phoenix FD Properties and make it a solid object, and click OK. Next, select a box from the standard primitives in the geometry panel and draw a box in the corner of this square. Hold Alt and the middle scroll button. Go into Modify to rotate. Go into Modify. Right-click on the box in the Modify and change it to editable poly. Select Polygon in this drop-down menu and select the face facing inwards. Then scroll down in the parameters until you find material IDs and set the ID to 10. Then select the Phoenix source, and at the top of the options, add this cube as the source. Scroll down in the parameters until you find Polygon ID and set that to 10. Next, go to the Create panel and the Helpers icon. Select typeflow and tie icon, and we want to make the tie icon the same size as our water source. So click and drag and then release to make it the right size. Go up to the top and select the Select Object tool, and then choose your typeflow icon. Go to the Modify panel, and at the top, go to Open Editor. Now, click and drag birth event in, and maybe make the total 500, and we want it to just happen on the first frame, so we'll say the end is 1. Click and drag at the position icon, which is this one, underneath the birth. Then select Pick and select your tie icon in the window. You can now see that the particles are being birthed in where the tie icon is. Next, we want to add a shape. So click and drag the shape underneath position icon. We want the shape to be 3D, and we want it to be a low-res sphere. If we go into Display and click the drop-down menu, we want to select Geometry. So now we can see that the particles have turned into spheres. We go back into Shape and then click Scale, tick for Scale, and then maybe make it 300% to increase the size of the spheres. The other thing you need to do is make sure that they're sitting a bit above the surface. So click on the Z arrow. Oh, that's the typeflow. Make sure that the tie icon is selected. Click on the Z arrow and just lift it above the surface of the box. We also need to make them a PhysX shape. So select PhysX shape, drag it underneath shape, and set the whole type to sphere. So now you can see that they would drop to the ground from their position because of the gravity. So then we can shut the edit window. And the thing is that the water knows that it's confined to this area, but typeflow doesn't. So what we need to do is to add some boxes for them to bounce off. So if we click box and add them to the edge, so right click, go to object properties and select, deselect renderable, and then click display as box and say OK. So now this will not get rendered. Hold shift and drag the wall to the other end, and then repeat this for another 2 steps. Click OK as copy. So now we have boxes enclosing the whole area of where the water will be. Select your typeflow icon and go to Open Editor. Then we want to add a PhysX collision underneath the PhysX shape. If you go to your layer display now and hold shift and select boxes 2 to 5 and then just click add selected, this will add these as colliders. Next, add a mesh operator underneath and untick render only. So this is so that we can render the objects. Next, find material ID and drag it above mesh. Set it to static and then open your material editor, choose a desired color, and then click and drag it onto the typeflow to apply. Close your material editor, and you can also close the typeflow editor. Select the Phoenix box, go into its settings, expand grid, and choose jammed both in all axes. So you can unexpand grid and then choose output, and then you want to browse for a folder where you want to save it. Then also scroll down and make sure velocity is ticked. You can unexpand output, and in preview just make sure that show mesh is ticked. And in the same section you just want to disable particle preview. Reselect typeflow and open the editor again. Then we want to go to the PhysX fluid, add that under PhysX shape. Select your grid for the Phoenix and then copy and paste the name of the Phoenix object into the fluid node name. Then select Auto Setup Phoenix FD Container and select Yes. This will automatically set up a few parameters for you. The velocity under here will change the speed of how the objects move. So we might set that to 0.5 to increase it a bit. And we might decrease the buoyancy to 0.7 to make it sink in the water a little bit more. Next, we're going to select Run Simulation and see how that goes. So now that you've run the test run, you can drag along your animation bar and it'll show the animation. What I've done is in typeflow decreased the velocity to 0.5 and the pressure to 0.7 as well, just because it was coming out a bit too fast and splashing too much. So